All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Down to talk football once again. 2 in 1 week. I'm Blake Walker, Paul Aridge alongside of me. It is October 10th. It is 11 p.m. at night. We're getting this recorded after Thursday night football finishes. The Niners just beat the Seahawks, and the Northern Lights are visible here in the state of Iowa. I could not see them. Paul could barely see them through his phone. But, yeah, shout out to that. Paul, quickly before we get going, we had a couple games tonight in football. There was a big game tonight. Fort Dodge, who was ranked 11th in the RPI, falls to Lamar's. Could have. We'll learn more about it next week when the RPI comes out. But not a great loss for the Dodgers, who are in they can't lose a lot here in Class 4A.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Huge win for Lamar's, and the Dodgers got Sioux City West coming up, which should be probably a win for them. But then they've got at Spencer, which could be a tough one. So probably one they were really hoping they could get away with. But
that's Thursday night football, baby. What are you going to do about it? I assume Pella handled Hoover with ease, and then I'm not. Who was the other game?
Sioux City North versus East, and Sioux City North won.
Sioux City North beat East?
Yep. 37-0.
What?
Shut up. Don't sleep on the Stars.
Are we talking the same?
Sioux City North Stars versus Des Moines East.
Oh, you said Sioux City East.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. I was like, I'm literally looking at Sioux City East here. I had to confirm. I'm like, there's no against Sioux City North, but I was like, dude, there's no way they beat Sioux City East. Okay. Yep. That's awesome. You can tell it's late at night. All right. Let's jump into what we got for football. As you can see, we have spreads courtesy of Massey Ratings. These are, we're not betting. We're not doing anything. These are just give you a feel for, based on statistics, what the game could look like based on statistics. Paul and I are not bettors. We're not going to bet on these games. That's just a disclaimer because we're just getting that out there. But we will say, Paul, I was thinking we give our pick, but then also say, do you think the team stays within the spread, goes whatever? Just kind of throw it out there. Southeast Polk at 3-3 is home against Waukee. I put the rankings on here. The rankings are just of teams who are currently top 16. 3-3 Southeast Polk is favored by 23.5 points against 4-2, number 13th ranked Waukee. This is going to be a good game, Paul. I mean, the Waukee goes on the road. I talked to Coach Baker earlier this week, and he's like, we have had this game circled because even though they're 3-3, they're still the defending state champions. We don't really know what Southeast Polk team is going to show up this week.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if we want to get right out of the way, I do not think it's 23 point.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. These are two teams that really kind of need this. Waukee, if they're still trying to have that mantra of being a top 5 team or one of the better teams in the CIML, they have to win this one. If they lose a 3-game skid all against good CIML teams and your only wins are against teams that, to be honest, just aren't great competition, we're starting to get worried about even just playoff success. So have we made our picks? Did we talk about no, we haven't talked about. I think we talked about it in the RPI game, in the RPI episode.
We just talked RPI. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think my pick here, I'm just leaning Southeast Polk. I think that they both have just not been playing good football as of late. But I think Southeast Polk at home here with the backs against the wall, I think it's just a playoff game for them. And I think if they can run the ball, that run game has not been good this year. But if they can get something on the ground against a defense that struggled, I think they have a good shot.
I think the biggest thing for me is Southeast Polk just cannot get the ground game going. And the passing attack is there, but they're very turnover prone. And this Waukee secondary likes to pick off quarterbacks. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to roll with Waukee. I don't think they outright 23.5. But, yeah, I think I'd take Waukee here myself. Becca Baker's better in the quarterback duel. I think Grant Gamble's a little bit better than Landon Vanderwerf. So give me Waukee, but I understand where you're coming from. This is back against the wall for Southeast Polk. They're running out of time.
When have you seen a Southeast Polk run game only have 4.8 yards a carry?
It's insane.
That's a long time.
And they've usually had multiple backs. This year they don't. I mean, it's really just Landon Vanderwerf. So, yeah. Didn't have this on my bingo card. Number 4 Valley takes on number 3 Waterloo West. We did not think this was going to be a thing getting toward this point in the season, but this is a top 5 matchup. Valley is favored by 39.5 over Waterloo West. The Wahawks lost to Northwest a couple weeks ago. Valley's only loss is Dowling in overtime. For anybody wondering, like, what is this Waterloo West team out? Like, what do they do? Well, their passing attack is Brady Dean, 734 yards, 9 touchdowns, 102 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. Nathaniel Klein, he is 789 yards, 4 touchdowns, not bad. Miles Gardner, 13 catches, 197 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the receiving category. And then Klein also leads the team in tackles with 29.5 and 1.5 tackles for loss. Paul, do you know the name off your top of your head? They do have an all-American tackle, do they not?
Carter Nielsen.
Yeah, he is big. Like, but he's a one-man wrecking crew. But he is legit. Like, he's going to go to a Power 5 school.
Nielsen, sorry.
He's going to go to a Power 5 school and play football. He is a monster. Yeah, he is a monster.
4-star, but too.
Yes, but Paul, it's just the schedule for Waterloo West. Their last 5 games: Hempstead win, Davenport Central win, Davenport North win, lost to Northwest 49-21, and then beat Marshalltown 44-17. I want to think Waterloo West can compete, but if Northwest beat them by 28, Valley's just so good, man. This might be the start of a skid for the Wahawks. I'm not saying they can't make the postseason. I think they can if they beat Ottumwa, but I just don't see this being close.
Yeah, no, this could be pretty ugly. This Valley team is really good. A lot of people would say the most talented team in the state. Factor in that 21 points scored against Waukee Northwest, 14 of that came in the fourth quarter. The score heading into the fourth was 42-7. It's just an uphill battle. I mean, this is an extremely talented team with D1 bodies on the field against a team that has one D1 body on the line and then probably not too many off. So it's just a tough matchup. I mean, you're playing realistically, if you were to rank the top 36 teams, you probably wouldn't have Waterloo West in the top 15, top 10. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a tough one. We're both going to take Valley here.
Are you going to take 39.5? That's what's going to get you there.
I think I might take 39.5.
I'd take 39.5.
Yeah, I think it's at least going to be 49-7 or something like that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Waterloo West, 5-1. Winnable games the rest of the season. They do get a ton on the last week of the regular season, and personally looking at that, I think that's what could be a chance for the postseason. But either way,
in a positive view, your RPI will probably get a little bit better.
Yes. Even with the loss. I mean, they're playing good competition. It helps prepare them for what's to come. So can't be mad about it. But still have made a good season out of what they have. They're winnable games, and they've won the winnable games. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they'd like to stay competitive here in the other ones, but that's just, that's what we think. Number 6, Ottumwa, 6-0, is hosting 2-4 Waukee Northwest. The Wolves at 2-4 are 34.5-point favorites. So the Dogs are dogs on their home field. Again, haven't really talked about Ottumwa a ton, but here's what they work with. Matthew Mitchell, 432 yards, 6 touchdowns, 119 yards on the ground, 7 touchdowns. Kobe, Chanthalavon. There you go. Chanthalavon, 84 carries, 1,090 yards, 11 touchdowns. Travois Brown, 8 receptions, 274 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And Parker Derby on defense is a dog. 22.5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 interceptions for Ottumwa. The Bulldogs' last 6 games have been all wins. Ames, Marshalltown, Oskey, Des Moines Lincoln, and Des Moines Roosevelt only beat Ames by 7 points. Northwest, coming off a loss to Valley, beat Waterloo West, lost to Dowling by just 7, beat Roosevelt, lost to Waukee by 11. Mac Heitland has more passing yards than Beckett Baker. more you know.
I mean, watch out for Mac these upcoming years.
It's going to be good.
Watch out for Waukee Northwest. I mean, Jordan.
This team, we've talked about it. They're all young. They don't have a senior in their leading category.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they're definitely a team to watch upcoming. They did kind of what we said they were going to do with Valley. They held on at least at the beginning of the game. It's 21-14, and then just pulled away from them. But as for this game, I mean, I'm taking the points, and I'm taking Waukee Northwest. And I mainly, I mean, last year, this game, not at different paces, this game was 76-14. And I really you can't tell me there's that big of a talent difference between last year's Ottumwa and this year's Ottumwa. They're definitely a little bit better, but I just don't see that. I mean, this Waukee Northwest team, I think, is a good team. And shout out to the Wolves. They're going to beat a team like Ottumwa and get major RPI points for it. Yeah, so that's sweet for the Wolves.
Saying,
it's really good for their playoff hopes, but
they could go 4-5. I think they can get in. I mean, they're 24th right now in their RPI, so I don't know. I'm not going to take the points. I think Ottumwa keeps it within 34.5, but yeah, I think Northwest wins. So Ottumwa's season will, again, I think if you go back and watch the RPI episode, Paul and I believe either Waterloo West or Ottumwa will make the playoff. If maybe both of them could still make the playoffs despite some losses. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Johnston, number 10 in the RPI at 4-2, taking on Council Bluffs Lincoln 4-2. Johnston favored by 41.5. Council Bluffs Lincoln, the Lynx are led by Etienne Higgins, 649 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 455 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns. He is a do-it-all man on the ground, and he's going to face the Johnston defense that is on fire ever since losing to Valley. They gave up 37 and 34 points to Cedar Falls and Valley, and since then they have given up 14 points in 3 weeks against Ankeny, Waukee, and Southeast Polk. This is a dome team, man. I'm so glad I picked them for the dome because they are on. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, they are playing their best football right now that they have all season. I will say maybe there's some fizzle out there, but that I don't think there will be. I think this defense is finally playing at that level we know they've been able to play at. Factor in their wins are against Ankeny, Waukee, and Southeast Polk. That's 3 straight wins, and those are all bubble teams. And that is
shut out Southeast Polk.
Yep. And then not 4 picks against Ankeny, Waukee just dismantled their offense. The big thing will be how good is the offense? How far can this offense take them? Because that defense we know is going to be good. But for Johnson, I mean, I'm going to take them this week, obviously, to get the win here. They've been firing all cylinders. I don't think I'm going to take the points. I don't think so either. I don't think they're going to. I mean, when you're getting to 41.5 totals, you're talking about ugly games. Like, running clock in the second quarter game. So, yeah, I'm going to take Johnston.
I'll roll with you. All right, our 5A game of the week. Number 2, Iowa City Liberty is hosting number 12, Ankeny. The Hawks at 3-3. Iowa City Liberty is 5-1. Reese Reddig is a dog, 1,370 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 254 yards on the ground, and 2 touchdowns. Luke Anderson, Daniel Larmy. I mean, an Ankeny offense that is starting to find their rhythm a little bit more. You can see the passing yards, passing touchdowns. Ankeny only has 14 offensive touchdowns this year. It's not great, but they're still making things work. You can see on the sacks end, Ankeny is on a 2-game winning streak against Iowa City West and Prairie, teams out on the eastern side of Iowa. Liberty is on a 3-game winning streak, Cedar Falls, Prairie, and Cedar Rapids, Washington. Oh, Paul, I hate to do the whole here's who they've played to here's who they played and here's how they did it. Liberty struggled with Prairie. Ankeny took care of Prairie. I mean, we talk about the whole eastern Iowa metro teams. Liberty hasn't seen a team like Ankeny yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that we're just looking at, I mean, Ankeny is one of the best wins in the state. I'd give it like second best win in the state, beating Dowling. And I think that we just don't see a win like that with Liberty, sorry. And that defense, I mean, just hasn't been exceptional. And I think the Ankeny's offense stat
It's not
wise right now
lights out.
it doesn't look impressive, but we know with the guys on the field that it is impressive. It's a hard defensive stop or offensive stop. They've just kind of played some really good defenses. So I think that it's gonna be the Hawks night. I think they get it done. As for points, I don't know if I'm gonna take the points yet.
Yeah, 18.5. I'll take Liberty. Not outright, but I take Liberty.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna agree with you there. I'm gonna take Liberty as well.
I will say I got to give a huge shout out to Liberty because what was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they weren't even 5A team. They were a 4A team. And technically 3A because it was 4A. They jump up. I remember they beat Iowa City High in the Kinnick game. And that was like a whoa. Graham Beckman was like really good for him. Kind of teeter back and forth. Last year didn't have a great year, but this year they've jumped out of the gate really well. So, big shout out to the Liberty. I think they have a former player on their team or as their coach. So
we got
I don't
young,
know.
Really, young coach.
Yeah. So really cool. So we're both going to take the Hawks, but we're going to take Liberty in terms of the points. All right, Class 4A, one of our closer point totals of it all, which this one's kind of surprising to me, Paul. 3-3 Ballard, ranked 13th in the RPI, is hosting number 4, 5-1 ADM. The Tigers are just favored by 4.5 points in this one. Paul, I mean, ADM, in my opinion, has been a pleasant surprise this year, considering how much they lost. I mean, they've impressed me at least. Ballard, on the other hand, has been through a gauntlet of the schedule, as has ADM. Can the Bombers hang in here?
I think they have a really good shot to hang in and potentially upset, and this is my main reasoning. Last year, they had Aiden Flora for this game in 2013, and he had 4 touchdowns in this game. I know this is an ADM team that has perfectly replaced those two. They've done everything they need to. They've had close games against what a lot of people have ranked as the top team in the state. But we do also notice they've had really close games against kind of the 2 best teams they played. As for Ballard, they've played some tough squads. Humboldt's really good, and then North Polk, that last one kind of got away from them. I like the spread, honestly. I like that it's close. I think it will be a close one. It's really tough. I picked Ballard to upset last week, and they didn't. But I feel like North Polk's kind of on a tear right now. So I might honestly pick Ballard to win this one again. And they do have it at home, and that's kind of my main reasoning. So,
yeah, I'm gonna stick with ADM. Hudson Scholl has like you said, has perfectly replaced Aiden Flora / Brevendal. It is unbelievable. 856 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 525 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's literally just filled in, and he's only a junior. So shout out to Hudson. Mason Gatchell's, he kind of does the same thing. He runs a little bit, passes a little bit, not as much. But other than that, Ballard's rushing attack, let's see. Yeah, they just haven't gotten going. 844 yards. The passing attack's pretty even. Ballard, both teams turn the ball over a little bit, passing interceptions wise. I'm gonna give ADM the slight nod. It is on the road, but yeah, I'm gonna say ADM wins, but I take Ballard in the points. I think this will be a close one, personally. Something about Ballard home field advantage, maybe. But it's like you said, only lost to Humboldt by 3. You hung in with Pella. You only probably should have lost by a possession. Pella scored a pick 6 late. So, yeah. So, interesting. 4-2 winner sets at home. Number 14th in the RPI. Host 6-0, number 5 Lewis Central. A 31.5 point spread for this game. No love by the ratings here. Winner set 4-2. They are led by Hank Wilmus, 941 yards, 9 touchdowns on 146 attempts. They do turn the ball over a lot in the interception category. 6 interceptions this year. Winner set has thrown. And on the other side, Brady Hetzel having another good year. Lewis Central's rolling, man. They're a tough team to beat.
Yeah, they're really good. We kind of they're doing what we expected them to do, maybe barring some close ones. It's hard to not take them, but the points, 31.5. That's
I give Winterset the points.
Yeah, I give Winterset the points. I think that's an ugly game if that happens. I know they did beat Creston 44-8. I mean, and they can make it ugly, beat Glenwood 55-15. But I don't know.
Beat Glenwood 29-21.
Yep. So there you go. If we want to play the whole they played.
It's our favorite game.
Oh, well, all that. But yeah, I'm gonna give Winterset the points, but Lewis Central, I mean, they're gonna get this one.
Lewis Central has won 8 of the last 9 against Winterset. So Winterset has not beaten Lewis Central since, take a guess.
Since I was in 5th grade.
When were you in 5th grade?
I have no idea.
2011. I don't think you were in 5th grade in 2011. 2011 was the last time Winterset beat Lewis Central. This is a big game for the RPI, big game in the district, really, because this will decide who finishes second. 4-2 CCA, Clear Creek Amana at 15th in the RPI is at home, taking on 10th ranked North Scott, 4-2. The Lancers are favored by 21.5. Clear Creek Amana coming off a 3-game winning streak. They beat Benton, who beat Solon. Think about that. They did lose to Williamsburg. They did lose to Solon. Again, it doesn't make sense. They beat Oskey and they beat Burlington, so a couple different type of games the last couple weeks. North Scott is coming off loss to Xavier and a loss to Western Dubuque. They have lost to really the 2 best teams they've faced. They do have a winner over Waverly Shell Rock. The Lancers won this game 16-14 last year. Anything really jump off the page for you statistics-wise here, Paul?
Not really. The biggest thing that's jumping out to me is that, that Clear Creek Amana has home field advantage here. Their defense gets interceptions. And,
but North Scott doesn't throw picks.
Yeah, North Scott doesn't throw picks. There you go. This is a really tough game to pick. But I don't want to butcher his name. Conlon.
I think it's Poynton.
He is playing great ball.
He's
really good ball at quarterback. He's their guy. Tough one to pick. I think I might lean the home team here. I might go Clear Creek. But that's just how I'm going to go. This is a super close game last year, but I'm definitely not taking the point spread.
I'm going to take North Scott, and it's not by 21.5. I can tell you that. So give me Clear Creek in terms of the points. But yeah, I think North Scott, I think the Lancers are just a little bit better. Chase Smith is good. And I always worry about the teams that have a quarterback that can run and pass, because if he struggles at one, tough sledding. So
I can't believe I looked ahead and just saw this.
Let's talk about it, shall we? Bondurant at 1-5 is on the road to take on 6-0 undefeated number 6 ranked Gilbert. And yes, that is not wrong. Bondurant at 1-5 is favored by 8.5 points on the road against the Gilbert Tigers. This last year, Paul, if you're a Gilbert guy, if you're a Gilbert player, you just got to flush it. Last year is last year. Do not think about these last 3 weeks, because this is where it went off the rails. This is a Gilbert team that cannot pass the ball. They run it like crazy. Will Hawthorne is one of the best athletes in the state. They rely on their defense. But, Paul, I was looking at some stats, man. Bondurant's going to be competitive in this game.
Yeah, we've talked about this Bondurant team. We've said the joke of best 1-5 team of all time.
We're not joking.
We're not joking, I guess. This is scary for Gilbert. You almost wish that Bondurant had squeaked out some wins so this doesn't look as jarring on paper. But this Bondurant team has played some ridiculous team comp. Like, they've played Newton, Lewis Central, Waverly Shell Rock, Grinnell. Those are all good top 10.
We lost to Lewis Central by 10.
Yeah, like that's what a lot of people have as the best team, and they only lost by 10. So then, on the other hand, you have Gilbert, who has played virtually no one.
We have to remember was up 35-7 against the number 1 team in the RPI right now, or not one of the top teams in the RPI right now, North Polk. Blew it in the second half. I mean, they're not too far away from being 4-2. It's like, I don't know. I want to do something, Paul, but I don't know. I don't know if I have.
I have the strength to do it, and I picked him to go to the Dome. I honestly like Bondurant in this game.
I don't want to be that guy.
I think when you get to a point when it all depends. Is Bondurant capable of stopping your one ability, which is Will Hawthorne? Frankly, that's it.
So I will say this. I may have just found a stat. Caden Klein from Newton is up there with Will Hawthorne. Like two very good running athletes. Caden Klein ran for 245 yards on 17 carries and 4 touchdowns against Bondurant. So in that case, that tells me Bondurant might struggle a little bit against the run. So that's going to save me.
How good up front is Newton compared to?
I mean, that's just – well, let's check. Let's see. Lewis Central. Jacob Jeffries only ran for 87 yards against Bondurant. What else?
They held Waverly Sherrock to 4 yards a carry.
All right. Grinnell, how'd they do against Grinnell? I don't think
3.9 yards per carry against Grinnell.
So, I mean, it depends on how can Will Hawthorne beat Bondurant. That's just what it is all season. Can Will Hawthorne beat this team? Because he's a one-man wrecking crew. But,
you can't do the last year they played stuff.
No, you can't because Bondurant lost like their whole roster pretty much, except Jordan. How did Jordan Ryle do in this game? Did he play in this game last year?
Yeah, but it was a Titus Graham game.
Okay.
He had 3 touchdowns, I think, this game. This is extremely tough.
It's not like this game is toward like our picks or anything, but like I have a duty that I want to do well. I'll give Gilbert the benefit.
6 pass attempts. Like, what happens if you are suddenly down 3 scores?
You're in trouble.
You just run the
ball.
But
they've been down 3 scores, remember?
Like they did. They were down against DCG. They were down 3 scores.
And that game, unfortunately, I mean, but also, as up to this point, who has Gilbert beat?
Carroll.
I mean, Carroll's a good win. I'll give him that. Carroll's a good win. I mean, Boone's a good win. I don't know.
When you
the last 4 years, the last 4 years these two teams have played, the losing team only scored 7 points. There's your fun fact of the day. AKA Gilbert has only scored 7 points each game the last 4 years. That's going to change. And before that, this game was very competitive. I'll take Gilbert. But I'm going to tell everybody right now, Paul and I will not be surprised if this is the upset. And we're not, here's the thing, Paul. let's shake on it right here. If Bondurant wins this game, we will not say upset alert in the post. You can't. You literally can't. They're not favored.
You might lose out on some likes there. You're holding some likes off the board.
I'm just saying. Because you know what I'll do? I'll comment on my personal account and be like, it's not an upset. They were favored by 8.
Yeah, I guess we can
give me Gilbert and give me Gilbert outright. There you go.
Whoa.
There's my pick.
Wow.
We've spent 5 minutes on this game. Maybe this should have been the game.
We had to. That was a good game to talk about.
So who are you picking? You're taking Bondurant.
Yep.
Okay.
Taking a 1-5 team against undefeated.
On the road. On the road. It's probably Gilbert's homecoming. Who knows? It's actually not. I don't think it is. But all right. Now to get to our 4A game of the week. Oh, I missed it. There we go. There's a 4A game of the week. Which this one we won't have not something to talk about. It probably should have been Gilbert North Polk or Gilbert Bondurant. Number 1 North Polk in the RPI heads to Indianola to take on the Indianola Indians at 4-2. They are 9th. North Polk is 6-0. Indianola, Paul, is 4 points, 5 points away from being undefeated. They lost to Ballard by 2, and they lost to Pella by 2. They were injured pretty bad in the Pella game. Not saying that's a reason to think otherwise. North Polk coming off a win against Ballard 29-8, beat Humboldt 26-17. I watched this team in person. Nathan Feldman is so good. He is so good. He plays defense, plays offense, 440 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1,001 yards on the ground, 13 touchdowns. The only downside for North Polk, if he goes down, they're in trouble. Asher Bruick, 849 passing yards. Jake Pontier, 764 yards, 10 touchdowns on the ground. You can see the stats in front of you, how they shake out. What do you think, Paul? I'm going to roll with the comments, but I would not be surprised if Indianola wins this game, as North Polk is favored by 1.5.
Yep, I'm going to take North Polk, and I'm actually going to take their points. I think they get it done by more than 1.5. Listen, Nathan Feldman, ridiculously good athlete.
When you eventually see him in person, you'll be like, okay, I get it. Like he's a dude.
Yep, and they aren't like they have one of the best wins in this class over Humboldt. That was right after they beat Van Meter as well. So I like North Polk in this game. I think they're rightfully so one of the top teams in the state in RPI. I think this is an accurate RPI rating. No, it's kind of funky sometimes to start off, but this one I agree with. Indianola played really good comp. They are really close.
They'll be a tough playoff team. I can tell you that.
It'll be a tough playoff game, but I think this one just might slip through their fingers here.
3A. This is such a good class. It was so hard to pick a game this week. You'll know what our number one aim is when you see it. But we'll start out with our honorable mention this week. Number 8, Williamsburg at home, 5-1, taking on number 7th rated RPI team, Solon at 5-1. Williamsburg is a 12.5-point favorite, and I don't hate it at all. Solon coming off the upset loss to Benton. Williamsburg coming off the 54-12 win over Fairfield. They have cruised since losing to Xavier. Beat CCA. They beat Fort Madison. They beat South Taman. They beat Fairfield. These two teams played twice last year. Solon won the regular season matchup 21-14. Williamsburg dominated Solon in the Dome. Was that the game that they had like tons of picks? I could have sworn.
Yeah, they had something happen that game.
It's like 8 picks, 7 picks, something like that. It's kind of like that Harlan game in the championship when Tegan Kasperbauer threw like 9 picks in one game.
Yeah.
It's okay. They turned around and won the next year. But Williamsburg won in the Dome, went to the title game 45-14. Grant Hawker is unbelievable this year. 1,575 yards, 29 touchdowns. He's spamming his wide receiver, but for good reason. Race Heitman, 39 catches, 746 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Ty Bell, Eddie Johnson in the backfield for Solon. I'm going to be honest, Paul. I think Williamsburg wins. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'll take Solon in the points, but I think Williamsburg wins here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. I think Williamsburg is legit, and Race Heitman has been
unbelievable,
stupidly good. Leads them in tackles, leads them in receiving yards, as you probably just said. I like Williamsburg. They also played Xavier, and they almost won that game, which is a good 4A team. So I lean them, and my one avenue here, Solon, maybe is pissed that they just lost.
Oh, I believe it. But then you could have a team that still be slogging off that. You never know.
Yeah, they could be rattled. We aren't in the locker room. It's 100% just guessing on how they feel.
So what people think, we do not know what the locker rooms.
Yep, we have no idea. So I like Williamsburg, and I also like the points. But the Solon team is really good. They still are a top team that could easily make the Dome. They just slipped up one game, so could be biting our words here.
Yeah, we probably will. Who knows? Number 16th rated in the RPI, Benton Bobcats at 4-2 are at home taking on the 5-1 9th rated Grinnell Tigers. Grinnell coming off the a win against South Tama, 45-7. Benton coming off the upset win over Solon, 21-0. Since 2021, this game between these two teams has gone into overtime twice. This has been a phenomenal series the last couple seasons. Benton is a 7.5-point favorite, as you would expect coming off the upset over Solon. What do you think, Paul? Let's get your thoughts, considering it's
I like Grinnell. And here's why. I think there's a major hangover effect to this game. I think this post beating Solon, I think Benton was probably circled that one and was like, we're going to beat this.
It was one of Benton's, if you look at history-wise, Benton has struggled in close games. Struggled in the last 5 years in close games. That's why, the newspaper headline was like, Benton finally finishes the deal. Continue with what you're saying.
Yep, I just think Grinnell, this is a team that is capable. They weren't really that off of Solon either. They competed at least. It wasn't just a blowout. And I know Benton just beat them, but I think there's a hangover effect. It's at a Benton, so they might be hyped up for this one, but I think that Grinnell will get it done. I know you might like to hear that.
Everything in my fibers make me want to pick Benton, because I could also see this going another way. Benton is fired up. I mean, they you beat Solon, you're like, oh my gosh, we can go out and win this. This game is huge for the RPI as well, because it looks like Solon and Williamsburg are probably going to be 1-2. Now, if Solon loses to Williamsburg, they would have the fallback. Solon, I don't know how this would work. I think
Solon would most likely, Benton or Solon would get a wild card. Probably.
Yes, yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't think Williamsburg, Solon, Benton, Grinnell all get a wild, all get into the playoffs, because they're all in the same district, if you haven't learned that already. But all I'm saying is, this game is a playoff game. I think the loser of this game might miss the playoffs. The winner's going to be in, no matter what. I will say that. The winner of this game will go to the playoffs. But I don't know, man. I like Grinnell, clearly. Alumni of Grinnell. Brady Kaufman has played great. Logan McDonald on defense can get to the quarterback. Will Schlegel up front is a big dude. Brock Heischman is so good. I want to think Grinnell's fired up, so I'm going to take Grinnell, but would not be surprised if Benton wins this game. But give me Grinnell, and you know what? Let's go overtime again. Why not? Grinnell wins in overtime once again against Benton. West Delaware, 4-2, number 11 in the RPI. Host number 4, Wahlert Catholic at 6-0. West Delaware is favored by 16.5 points. Is this the week, Paul, that the Yankovic train gets rolling? Because it was around this time last year where West Delaware got that train rolling.
Yeah, at this point, I think West Delaware was kind of in a similar spot, and then they just rallied and became a really quality team. So, Wahlert Catholic obviously has been a wagon this year, undefeated, and they're playing great ball. They just beat Independence in a close one that was huge for RPI as well. I think it's hard to not pick Wahlert Catholic in this one, just due to, they're 6-0. They've been playing great ball. But wow, that spread is shocking, to be honest.
What do they know that we don't know?
Yeah.
What do the computers know?
Do they know something we don't? What's in the locker room? But I think I'm gonna rock with Wahlert Catholic, so I'll take the point as well, I guess. And it's tough. It's a tough pick because Brent Yakovich, it's not a guy you just overlook. And I know we've been saying his name and he hasn't exploded yet, or West Delaware.
He's still been pretty dang good.
Yeah.
This place is a home game for West Delaware. This is a hard place to play. This place is going to be rocking. Give me the Hawks. I think this is when they go on a run again. Yankovic ran for 161 yards and a couple touchdowns in this game last year. West Delaware only lost by 1 point on the road. Give me the Hawks. Don't take the points, though. I'll take Wahlert Catholic in the points category there. But I like West Delaware. Number 3, Sergeant Bluff Luton, 6-0. Host number 15, Carroll, 4-2. 18.5 point favorites for Sergeant Bluff Luton. We talked about Sergeant Bluff Luton a little bit in our RPI. They're playing great. I will say Carroll has won the last 2 matchups between these two teams. Carroll's coming off a loss to Bishop Heelan. Sergeant Bluff Luton coming off a win over MOC Floyd Valley, 45-21. This will be interesting. I think this game is closer than people will think it will be, but I think Sergeant Bluff Luton wins here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. They've just been too good this year to overlook. That rushing game has been ridiculous. 8 yards a carry, and they just keep it they haven't showed a single flaw yet this year, and they've beat a 5A team, and I think when you get to a 3A level, being able to say you beat a 5A team is pretty high up there. Not even a 5A team that's awful either. It's just an East team that's decent. So I'm going to rock with the same pick and going with the Warriors. Points. No, I'm not going to take
18.5. I'm not.
That's a lot of points.
This would be 18.5 spread. That would be the one like they kick a field goal late. You never know.
Yeah, then we get screwed over.
Our 3A game of the week. Number 2 Humboldt hosts number 1 Algona. I'm wanting to pick this up a little bit because we're 40 minutes in. I'm going to be plain and Jane with you, Paul. I did not pick Algona last week, and I paid for it dearly. I was very impressed by the Bulldogs last week. Their defense, I was stunned by how well that defense played. Mm-hmm. Cohen Matson is very good. He's one of the best players in the state, underratedly, in my opinion, for Humboldt. He's a passer. He's a runner. But Alex Mensky does not turn the ball over. I think the Bulldogs win this game. And Humboldt is favored by 9.5.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Algona obviously just had a huge game against Clear Lake. So maybe some people think there's a hangover there. I think Algona comes out and gets it done. I think this is a team that's kind of been destined here. They've got D1 guys that have been, Limbaugh and Mansky have been good. And then Evan Alley has exploded at receiver and been really good for them as well. So I like Algona here. This Humboldt team did beat Van Meter, and their one loss is North Polk, the top team in the state. Yeah, at least RPI-wise. So, extremely tough pick, but I'm going to go with the Bulldogs here.
Sweet. Both going to roll with them. Should be a great game. I'm picking them outright. What do you think? 9.5 point spread in favor of Humboldt.
I'm taking them outright as well.
All right, there you go. All right, let's get moving. 2A, 5-1 West Marshall on the road taking on PCM, or at home taking on PCM 6-0. PCM number 2 in the RPI. Paul, I was thinking about it earlier today, and I'll say it. I think PCM legit could beat some 4A schools. I'm going to just flat out say it. This is like such a talented team. It's kind of unbelievable. I got to give West Marshall their flowers, though. Ben Gonzalez and Vincent Clausen have been playing great. West Marshall coming off wins against Iowa Falls, Alden, Jessup, Vinton Shellsburg, Hampton, Dumont, Cal, and South Hardin. They did lose to Nevada, but that's their only loss. PCM destroyed Nevada.
Honestly, the spread's only 23.5.
Give me the points. Give me PCM.
Yep. Give me the points. Give me PCM. They've been too good this year. And technically, West Marshall did lose to Hampton, Dumont, Cal. The forfeit went ineligible. I don't know how big. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, don't tell them about that.
Win's a win. West Burlington, 5-1. Shout out West Burlington, man. I remember Grinnell killed them like years ago, or like a couple of years ago, like beat them up bad. And now they're 5-1. They're playing well. Shout out Landry Haberichter, a junior, playing well at the quarterback position. Quincy Collins, 1,341 yards and 17 touchdowns. That's like got to be best in 2A. Got to be up there. Yeah, Albia is really starting to figure things out here recently. They got a win over Central Lee, beat Davis County, did lose to Mediapolis. West Burlington has won against Mediapolis and Central Lee. West Burlington won this game last year 19-8. 15.5 is the spread for the Falcons. Give me the Blue Demons in points, but I think the Falcons do win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to completely agree with you. I think West Burlington has been really good this year. That rushing attack has been great, but 15.5 is a little too much for me. I think Albia keeps it close. They've been not an awful team. They're definitely going to compete. So, yeah, I agree with you there.
14.5 point favorites. Roland Story, number 8 in the RPI. Hosting number 10 Des Moines Christian, 4-2. This is a heck of a spread, if you ask me. Des Moines Christian coming off the loss to Kemper Catholic, 29-20. Roland Story has rattled off 2 straight wins over Southeast Valley and Greene County. They did lose to Nevada, and they lost to Kemper, both by less than 8 points. Roland Story won this game last year, 41-14. Sam Knowles playing great. In honor of Luke Patton, I got to take Roland Story. And I'm not going to take the points, but I like Roland Story.
Yeah, how about Des Moines Christian playing back-to-back ranked teams? That's tough.
It's like the only team to do it so far.
Yeah. Jet Each has been playing great for them this year, but I think Roland Story gets it done. I won't take the points as well, but Roland Story has been a great team this year. They've been playing well. They played great against Kemper. Both these teams played Kemper close, so should be a good one, but I'm going to rock with Roland Story.
I went a little too early there. But our 2A game of the week, Central Lyon taking on number 9 Western Christian. Central Lyon is favored by 28.5 in this game. Western Christian currently sitting at 4-2, as is Central Lyon. This is a home game for the Lions. This is a young team. Jaden Dale, or Dolly, sophomore, 588 yards passing, 417 yards rushing. Michaelet Saddam, 763 yards on the ground. Take a look at how they stack up against each other. Western Christian, the better passing team. Western Christian has 0 sacks this year. That could be just a defense. There's no way that's not wrong, statistically, because everything else is filled in. They have 0 sacks this year.
They might have been playing a lot of running.
It's possible.
But not to have a sack is pretty ridiculous.
Central Lyon, if you're going to play the game of who's played who, Central Lyon lost to Cherokee Washington 16-13. Western Christian beat Cherokee Washington 20-14. I picked Central Lyon, or I picked Western Christian to go to the Dome, but I just like Central Lyon in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I like Central Lyon here. I think I'm finally getting over they played Cherokee and Western Christian.
Cherokee's a good team.
Yep, they are. And this rushing attack by Central Lyon is still really good. And also to just replace the 2 guys that have been, three guys, I guess, in the past 2 years that have been amazing for them. And they've kind of seamlessly, ADM'd it. They kind of did what ADM did. They just have still been good. They obviously aren't, probably going to be insanely, make the Dome good this year. But they're 2 sophomores leading your way offensively. I think this is a good team. I think they do get done. But no way am I taking 28.5
points.
What do they see? I'm literally just looking at the I know it's probably a lot more into it than just who's played who and stuff, but I don't know.
I see Central Lyon, and then I remember that Reese Vanderzee had a heck of a first game for Iowa and has barely done anything since. And now I'm wondering if he had a Linsanity game
against Southern Illinois.
He's a great player. He's an amazing player. He's gonna have a good career, but I just thought about that. I'm like, man, he has not done anything since then. All right, we're gonna move on before I cry. All right, Class 1A 4-2. Albernet is hosting Grundy Center. The what are they called? The Spartans, 32.5 favorites. Give me the points, man. Grundy Center made South Hardin look like nothing. 35-0. Remember, I almost took South Hardin, but I was smart and took Grundy Center. Give me the Spartans plus the points. It's unbelievable that they graduated as much as they did, and they are still unbelievably good.
Yep. I'm just going to start praising how good Grundy Center is. Their quarterback in Iowa high school football is throwing 83% completion percentage.
And he's throwing the ball.
14 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he's just stepping in to play quarterback because
Colin Gordon graduated, and then he's like, it's my turn.
If we're going to go ratio, 22 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. What do you do? What at what point does 1A just go, how do we stop them? What's happening? Where are they getting their kids?
They couldn't win that title for so many years. Now I feel like they're just going to go. They're going to go on a tear.
They're on a Georgia run. They're just going to all of a sudden become a dynasty. Yeah, sorry, Albernet. I'm going to take the points and just the win. The defense we aren't even talking about. Defense hasn't gave up anything. More than 7 points. I don't think they've given up. Maybe they give up 14 to Dyke. I don't think they did.
No. They gave up 7 to Dyke and Hartford. Yeah. They've never given up more than 7 points in a game.
That's ridiculous. We don't even talk about that because their offense is good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, taking Grundy Center. South Hardin 5-1. Number 7 is on the road, taking on 5-1 Hudson. South Hardin 22.5 point favorites. Do they recover, Paul? Can they get over the slump of last week? I know that was a really tough loss, but do they get over it and take down Hudson here this week?
I think that South Hardin gets over it. I think Grundy Center, that's a team that you just kind of write off right now if you lost to them, except for Dyke. Congrats to Dyke. You guys played them really close.
Are we going to play the game again? Albernet, South Hardin beat Albernet 49-14. Hudson lost 47-6.
Yeah, we're playing that game because that's too much.
When it's that big of a difference, you can't not play that game. So we should make
I'm going to go with South Hardin to win and take
give me the points. South Hardin. 4-2 Beckman Catholic, only 13.5 point dogs at home against number 2 Regina. I don't know why, but I haven't thought about this Regina team. I mean, I know they're number 2, but I don't know. I just don't think much of them. Kyle Tracy's a junior. Their whole team is like really young. Tate Wallace looks like he's going to be insane here as he continues to grow up. Beckman Catholic's Dylan Recker, 412 yards passing. They have Isaac Burlage, 851 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. Regina, while they haven't played an amazing schedule, they're still winning. Beckman Catholic's losses to Albernet and Wilton. I like Regina, but I like Beckman in the points here. Again, I'm gonna pick Regina to go 7-0, but I'm hesitant.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that you got to go Regina. They've played they're 7-0 this year, and we just haven't showed really a big flaw yet. But Beckman easily could maybe get the win here. I'm gonna have to go with Regina, and I'll take the points.
1A game of the week. Number 6 OABCIG. The Falcons are hosting Hinton. Number 9 Hinton. 24.5 point favorites is OABCIG. Paul, I look at the stats. Bryson Kolar, Jackson Jean have a connection that is money right now. Gabe Anderson is a rushing and passing quarterback. He does it all for Hinton. You can take a look at the passing and rushing category. OABCIG is not too far behind in the rushing side. 10 sacks for Hinton's defense, which is really good. Hinton is coming off back-to-back wins over MVA, OCOU, and Lawton Bronson. OABCIG wins over West Sioux and Ridgeview. If you want to look at who they've played, OABCIG beat Ridgeview 26-0. Hinton lost to Ridgeview 15-0. Remember, that's a Ridgeview team that struggles to score touchdowns. They play Iowa football. I like the Falcons here. I just think a little bit more firepower.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I like OABCIG to get it done here. I think that they've just been on a tear after that Westline loss, and that Westline team obviously we know is really good. So give me OABCIG. I think Jackson Jean and Bryson Kohler get it done.
Taking points?
No. 24.5.
I agree. I like adding that. Adds a little bit extra. Class A, 6-0, ACGC, home against Mount Air, 5-1, 20.5 point favorites. ACGC is not slipping. If you're a hater of ACGC, they love it. They feed off of it. Jathan South has been really good, 788 yards rushing. Not to mention Mike Fuller has 792 yards rushing. Overall, how many rushing yards do these guys have? 2,392 rushing yards. And passing-wise, they pass the ball just fine. Mount Air on the other side with Jackson Ruggles has played great, 601 passing yards, 441 rushing yards. Two teams that play similar style ball. Mount Air, last 5 games, only losses. Madrid, they're coming off a win against Linville Sully. ACGC coming off wins against IK Manning and Riverside. I will say, ACGC gives up a little bit defensively, and it worries me once in a while, but I'm not going to worry about it yet. I think ACGC wins, but give me Earlham in the points.
Yeah, I'm going to take ACGC. I think that they get it done. They've been scoring too much. Jathan South is insane. So, yeah, give me ACGC as well, but I don't know about the points. Points 20.5.
Mount Air.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll take the points, I guess. I think they're that good.
There you go. Earlham, 13.5 point favorites, number 6 in the RPI, or number 6 overall. They do rankings, not RPI. So it's voted on. 6th in the rankings at 5-1, go on the road to take on 4-2 Riverside. This is a very dangerous Riverside squad. I can tell you that. Jackson Gordon, 1,244 yards rushing and 19 touchdowns. Only a junior. AC Roller, one of the best names in the state, has 57.5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery. Earlham coming off a win against Panorama, Madrid, and Southwest Valley, and ICAM Manning. Ever since losing to ACGC by 7, Riverside lost to ACGC by 8. Did barely beat Southwest Valley. I think Earlham wins this game, but it's going to be close. Give me Riverside and the points.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think Riverside's been really good. They've had some tough, close losses. HSTW is a good team, and that they barely lost to an ACGC is obviously really good. So I like your upset pick here. I'm going to kind of ride it here with Riverside. I mean, Jackson Gordon's been ridiculous.
Insane. Insane. 5-1 Maquoketa Valley on the road, 15.5-point dogs, 6-0, number 5 ranked North Lynn. Paul, I am going with an upset pick here. Can I just say, if there was an over-under for this game, what do you think it would be? Just based off looking what these two teams have done.
A lot of zeros.
Yeah, so let's set it up here. In the last 5 games, these two teams combined have only given up 6 points. In the last 5 games, these two teams have only given up 6 points. That is unbelievable. Maquoketa Valley won this game last year, if you remember, Paul, in the Mud Bowl. You remember that? Give me the Wildcats. Do it again. I think Maquoketa Valley wins here. I think North Lynn's a little too young. Nothing against Will Sommerfeld. He's playing great, but Brady Wall, a junior, is playing great. Quarterback, Rogan Height, a sophomore running back, Dylan Nipper. I think the Wildcats win this thing on the road.
I'm going to go North Lynn. I'm going to stick with North Lynn here.
What's the final score going to
be? But, yeah, here's the thing. I'm not taking the points because there's no way they score enough points.
There is no way.
Yep. So I'm going to take North Lynn, but like 14-7 if we're going to go exact.
14-7. I'm going to go 6-3. 6-3. There's your points right there. This is going to be an amazing game. I hope this game's streamed. This is going to be awesome. We need Jack to just sit and watch only this game.
Yeah.
All right. Your Class A game of the week, number 7 Tri-Center is at home, taking on number 9 Woodbury Central. Kind of a quiet year for both these two teams. They're both 5-1. Woodbury Central is favored by 8.5. You have 2 sophomore quarterbacks, Jackson Vershoe of Woodbury Central and AJ Harder of Tri-Center. AJ Harder is one of those guys that is all passing, no running, while Jackson Vershoe can pass and run the ball. There's 2 senior running backs. Take a look at what we see on the stats. Woodbury Central, statistically, not quite as good as Tri-Center overall. Tri-Center's got a good defense. Last 5 games, Woodbury Central's only lost by 1 point to Galen Catholic. Tri-Center has won their last 5. Trainer, West Monona, Westwood, Logan Magnolia, St. Albert. I can't see, Paul. Do you know what their first game of the year was that they lost?
Let me check real quick. It was Tri-Center, right?
Yeah.
They lost to HSTW. Really good team. So
interesting. I'm going with Woodbury Central here. I like the Wildcats. I think this is going to be a great game. I'll take the points for Tri-Center, but I think Woodbury Central does win this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Woodbury Central as well. I'm pretty sure, I picked them, and I texted Jack. I think I picked them, so I'm definitely riding with them. Can't double back there.
Now, I will say AJ Harder is a dog. I mean, he's going to be this Tri-Center team should be really good the next couple of years. Especially with AJ Harder.
Yep, we're gonna go with. I'm going with Woodbury Central. Points 8.5. Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
It's getting late. It's past midnight. All right, let's finish this thing up. Class 8 player, 6-0 Lennox, number 1 in the rankings, 30.5-point favorites against Southeast Warren, who is also 6-0. There's no respect right now for Southeast Warren, a team that I have going to the Dome. Do I see this as an upset? Or is Southeast Valley going to win this game? No, I don't think they do, but it's definitely going to be closer than 30.5 points.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think 30.5 is wicked. I'm Southeast Warren. I think they're just not ranked because just 8 man is top.
It's not a great schedule. I mean, they beat Lamoni, not a bad win. But other than that, it's nothing crazy. To say the least. Lennox's win over Bedford is really what's getting them going.
Yeah, I think Lennox is going to win, but I think Gabe Funk has been good for so many years. It's hard to not pick them here, but 30.5 is ridiculous. This is like going to be a 21 max.
Yeah. And then you want to know what's crazy? Look at the next game. Bishop Garrigan, who's number 2 in the in rankings, who's 6-0, takes on another 6-0 team, number 10 GTRA. And Bishop Garrigan's only favored by 8.5. I will say, Paul, that GTRA has impressed me personally. Like a couple weeks ago they had that game against St. Edmund, but St. Edmund's, they're a very good football team. We know that. While I don't think this is going to be a GTRA win, Casey Howe has played really well. But I don't even have to look. I haven't seen what Bishop Garrigan looks like this year, but if it's anything like last year, I don't know. You're not beating this team.
Yeah, they're just too good. They're huge up front. I mean, they run the ball well, and then Tate has been great. This year, he's great. Last year, he's thrown like one career interception, I think, because last year he didn't have any interceptions either. So it's hard to not pick Bishop Garrigan. As for the points, I'm also going to take, because I think Bishop Garrigan's just that type of team.
I do too. And finally, 6-0 Audubon at number 6, 37.5-point favorites over Collins Maxwell at 4-2. We really haven't talked about Audubon that much. It is senior night. They are led by Carson Wessel and Aaron Olson. They're a good passing and rushing attack team. 594 passing yards. Colin Maxwell, 560. And on the ground, 1,703 for Audubon, 1,264. Total tackles for loss. Collins Maxwell has double what Audubon has. Collins Maxwell coming off a 64-42 loss to Baxter. I think Audubon keeps things rolling here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. That offense has been really good, and then the St. Edmund loss is just too much to discount there. Audubon beat them. Collins Maxwell got blown out. So I'm going to take Audubon, and I'm going to take the points as well, I think.
I'm with you. This game is going to be a barn burner. Number 4, Remsen St. Mary's at home is hosting number 5, Woodbine. Woodbine stats are astounding. They beat Remsen out in passing, and they beat them out in the rushing category. Not by much, but they do. 5 sacks, 4 sacks on either side. What do you think, Paul? This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, this game has been we've been circling it for a while now, that this is going to be a huge game in this district. Obviously, last year, Remsen took it away, and they returned like everyone. But honestly, so Woodbine gained more experience. And so it's two similar teams that are going to see each other for probably the second straight year. Woodbine stats-wise blows it out of the water. I mean, they got to be one of the few schools in the state with 1,000 rushing and 1,000 passing. Yeah. As for Remsen, they're just a dynasty that we have to respect. 21.5 is a little wild, I think. I pick Woodbine to win this one, which would be huge. I think that's kind of an upset pick, especially for how good Remsen is. But 21.5 either way is kind of too high.
I'm going to take Remsen. I think they've just played in these big games, and they're ready. I mean, I just feel like while their passing attack isn't as good, it's very consistent with Landon Waldschmidt. So, yeah, give me Remsen. I think Remsen wins this game. I think it'll be a great game. Would not be surprised if Woodbine wins, but give me Remsen. Not going to take 21.5 though. But, yeah, give me the Hawks. So, all right. Well, that's it. I'm tired. And I've been sitting crisscross applesauce on my couch because it's the best lighting, and my legs hurt so bad. So, yeah.
Long night.
That's all we got. Paul's going to be checking in on games tomorrow night. I think Jack's going to have us both hop on again a little bit later in the evening just to kind of talk about what happened. I think we're going to do that live and just kind of walk through just raw thoughts about what you and I think of the night. And then, yeah, I'm going to be calling Valley and Waterloo West tomorrow night. So we'll have a great time.
We'll see you there.
All right, that's all we got. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Enjoy week 7. We're going to have a lot of good games this week. We will be back next Monday to talk RPI. Thank you, guys. I'm Blake Walker. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening and watching Down to Talk Football.